Okay. So hi, my name's Evan.
Hi, my name's Mattea.
Mattea?
Yes.
That is a really cool name.
Thank you.
How do you spell it?
Mattea.
You know, we keep getting like lots of like new names that are like really cool, and I'm jealous, you know, like from my generation, I remember a lot of people, it's like the similar, you know, John and, you know, just the similar names, and that's all you wouldn't hear anything else. So that, I think that's really cool. All right, anyway. So you believe in God.
Yes.
And would you just call yourself like a non-denominational Christian?
I'm Methodist.
I don't think that'll be too important for what we talk about. Okay, so so this is all about how you know what you know. So I want you to like maybe go back in time or consider something where it's like, this happened or whatever, and now, you know, I know that God is real or something. Like something that really happened to kind of prove it to you.
For me, it's always been kind of just something I've known. I grew up with a lot of very religious people, so I always saw that they always tried to do their best, like being kind to people and helping people, and I always thought that if there was a God that would do that for people, that he would encourage that it would be really great. But when I first started driving, the first time I drove on the freeway, I'm from a really small town, so I don't spend a lot of time on big highways or freeways. It's all like country roads. I was going about 65, 70, and something pierced my tire, and it blew out right in front of a semi, and it was really, really scary because it was like my first time trying to drive on a freeway, and luckily the semi like moved over and got around me, but like I had to slam on my brakes. It was a really just scary experience. And like a lot of the times it's when I'm driving when I come close to something that could injure me. Like I've also been an inch away from hitting a deer going 60. It makes me feel like there's someone out there watching over and making sure that not super horrible
so so let me get this right, because I don't want to put words in your mouth, because you survived.
Yeah. And I've always
like a car crash. It would have been or I should say multiple car crashes.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Okay, how does surviving a car crash mean that God exists?
Because I think that...
I mean, other people have been in danger and they could have, or have died. You know, people have been in bad car crashes and they have died, so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you think that's a subjective reason, like, because you survived, that gives, you know, because it's personal, so...
Yeah. I think that he can't have, like, having everyone be protected, because sometimes things just happen, and I believe in that my choices affect what happens in my life, so not predestination.
Okay.
I think that what I choose affects how my life continues on, and that sometimes people make really bad choices like drinking and driving or texting and driving, and that a lot of really, really bad car crashes come from that too. Okay,
so it seems kind of like a karma belief, where, you know, people do good things and good things happen to those people specifically because they did the good or the bad thing. Is that correct?
Somewhat, yeah. I think that's also a little bit of mercy and trying to control, or not control, but help an entire civilization or world, that although he is omnipotent, that there's not something he can do for every situation too.
Okay, so it seems like the karma thing works, but it's not like 100%, am I right? Okay, so but how do you use that to gauge it then? Because like say hypothetically that those instances did not happen. So when you were driving, you know, you never had the thing hit your tire or whatever. There was no danger. You drove on the highway perfectly fine. Would that be evidence against God? No, right?
No, I think
so. But why does it, in that case, count as evidence for? Does that make sense?
I think that sometimes people hear God speaking to them, and I think that sometimes He just wants to make sure that you know that He's there, or that He's still looking out for you, because I think that He realizes that sometimes faith can be a little bit rocky,
sure.
and that people can sometimes forget. And a lot of the times when these things happened, I was going through more of a rough patch.
Okay.
And I think He was just kind of letting me know that He was still there.
Okay, so I want to go, you mentioned faith, and that's very important to me. So how would you define faith, like, yourself?
I think it's kind of believing that that something is out there, and that you don't have to see it to believe it, that you just have this idea that it's there, that you just kind of know it's there, and that sometimes your faith can waver because you're thinking that maybe it's not there, or maybe you were wrong all along.
Okay. So why do you think having faith is a good way to arrive at the fact or the belief that God exists? Because, like, how you said that, right? That, you know, you're believing it without having seen it. You're kind of trusting that He's there. So it's kind of like an emotional appeal. I get that. I understand.
Yeah.
I had the belief myself. So, yeah.
I'm confused. I got lost there.
Well, it's like if I said, like, I believed in, like, a unicorn, mm-hmm. right? Like, I had faith that there's a unicorn, and, like, he's watching over me. And I use, the unicorn in every aspect that you use the word God. Mm-hmm. What might you tell me about my truth claim, like, or about how accurate it would be for me to use faith in that instance?
I think that
like, if I substitute every word,
yeah,
or when you say God, I say unicorn.
I think that it would still be that my faith doesn't validate anyone else's faith. Like, I can't say that someone else's faith isn't true because it's what they believe, and it's kind of like an opinion.
That's great. I really want to get into that. That's really because what you're going into really highlights, like, how this street epistemology works. So you have other people, maybe they're Muslims or Buddhists or Jains, or we have so many religious cultures, and they will use the faith angle as well. And what my dad would tell me is that because we're more moral. But I don't, that doesn't seem right to me. But what do you think?
I think that people try to use their own faith as being the only faith, and I think that a lot of the time, if you look at the basis of every faith, there's kind of a similarity in that there's generally, for the most believed or most practiced faiths, there's more of a monotheistic belief, but also that with these different faiths and religions and everything, people have to be kind of lenient and not be like, our faith is better, because really I think that faith can just be a way to explain what's happening, and that when bad things happen in your life, it's kind of a way to say there's a reason for this, and that it's not always like I've done something wrong, but sometimes things just happen.
Okay, but
it's
how
kind of
does...
a way to comfort yourself.
Okay, but how do we determine who has the more accurate truth claim? Like, you know, if, you know, Allah is the one true God, or Jesus is the prophet, or maybe there was no Jesus Christ, and you know, you're a Jew and you follow the Jewish tradition. How do we come at the closest angle of truth? You know what I mean? Because it seems like you've all got the faith claim. Okay, I get it. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's okay. I think that I don't think that there's one true answer. I think that all of the different belief systems and everything, that I don't think any one is better than the other or more truthful than the other, because we're all kind of trying to like figure out what we believe, and that they all could be connected. We're just seeing them in different ways. Sure,
but wouldn't it be exclusive? Like if it was real, for instance, you know, if Jesus died on the cross, you know, that means that all the Jews are, you know, worshiping incorrectly. They didn't believe that Jesus was the true prophet, right, or the true God.
I think that there could be different stories too. I think it could be different parts in each story, that we're putting a different name and a different time period on it, but it all could have happened. There's no like concrete evidence that any true faith is the truth, and I think that trying to put the label of being the only truth on every faith is what's really kind of destroying the faiths, because people are so up in arms against the other faiths that they're forgetting the main beliefs of their own.
That's really wonderful. Like, I almost wish that I could just like play this back to you, because I think that's a gorgeous amount of reasoning, and I don't hear that a lot doing this. So I want to commend you a little bit.
Thank you.
We're at 11 minutes now.
Oh.
If we're done, I mean, that's on you. Otherwise, we could continue.
Well, I do have a class pretty soon, and I want to finish the little homework I have.
Great. Left. Well, it was a complete pleasure.
Yeah.
Wow, like I almost wish, I'm going to stop the recording real quick. I almost wish